Someone made a terrible discovery on the speedboat. All could be seen was that the water had in fact begun to rush in at an alarming speed. Immediately he realized that an unprecedented tsunami was coming, and Let's Save Yourself Zon immediately turned the boat around and drove quickly to the depths of the ocean. At the same time, other people driving the speedboat also made the same move. It turned out it was safe for boats to stay away from them because the water was deeper. The waves created are actually not that high. Only by overcoming it before the tsunami completely forms can they survive. But at this time, the tsunami has begun to form. That scary wave peak height has approached the Golden Gate Bridge. Even though the power of the bullet train may not be enough to overcome the tsunami, when Zon seeing this, he decided to speed up. He desperately rushed towards the tsunami. Later, a large number of bullet trains started to speed up and facing the 60 or 70-degree angle. Even the left extinguisher on the speedboat will fall out. The boat next to it will lose power and immediately be hit by a big wave, and Zon is about to go over the woman on the side. Edge looked terrified only to see a giant cargo ship suddenly appear. Saw two ships about to collie. Another wave followed. The next container on the ship fell down. He finally reached safe waters. But this 100,000-ton cargo ship fell straight down, accompanied by a terrifying tsunami, was completely destroyed. Many people on the bridge lost their lives in a split second. Then huge waves quickly hit the shore. Everyone was immediately scared and ran away in all directions. But facing this scary sea water was a desperate struggle that only saw the ferocious sea water rushing towards the whole of San Francisco. But in front of nature, humans were so small. San Francisco was destroyed by the sea so easily, and the cause of all this had to begin since 3 days ago. People still didn't know that disaster was coming. Still happy as usual playing on this spectacular dam. At the same time, a geology professor called his assistant. They were conducting experiment to predict earthquake here. However, just as they were celebrating the success of the earthquake prediction instruments experiment, suddenly received a violent signal. Then the dam started to move slightly. Kim was about to have a big earthquake for sure. A strong earthquake was felt in the next second. The professor quickly turned on the computer to check the result. It was an amazing discovery. In just this short moment, the magnitude of the earthquake reached 7.1, and then a large crack appeared on the dam. The dam could not withstand an earthquake of this magnitude and began to collapse. Everyone immediately panicked and ran away. Everyone ran quickly, hurry up and escape the fence. At this moment, the assistant just ran out from the dam, but he was just about to leave. Here, I found a scared little girl to save the assistant. Girl fell into great danger. Uncle, please hurry up. In the last moment he risked his life throwing the girl into the area safe, but he was pierced by the steel bar in his right leg. It was just a delay. The profile still didn't know that the 7.1 magnitude earthquake was a sign of a major disaster, and our male protects Zon as a Los Angeles firefighter. After the dam burst, causing floodings in the city, he immediately boarded a helicopters and moved into the dangerous area. From the helicopters, he had a panoramic view of the even scarier disaster in the air. The city, which was originally peaceful, began to rise and fall like sea water. It turned out that the earthquake at this time not only spread to Los Angeles, but the capital of the earthquake reached an unprecedented level of 9 and a few buildings. The high-rise building could not withstand the pressure and started to collapse. People eating and drinking in the high-rise building faced the sudden natural disaster. Everyone became panicked. At this time, my wife also in the building, this high-rise building, she just wanted to leave here. As a result, the next second she was violently transported. After she opened the staircase door with difficulty, she realized that the other side of the building had collapsed at this time. Outside has become purgatory on earth. Oh uncle, although Annie was very scared at this time, but she reacted in time. Then she followed the crowd to the stairs on the other side. But just as everyone was evacuating and went against the current and ran to top of the building, as a result, as soon as she reached the top of the building, she was shocked by the scene before her eyes. The ruined building in front of us seemed to have collapsed, and then something terrible happened. More, it happened that the floor under her feet cracked, and she fell to the first floor. When she woke up, the surrounding area was in ruins, but she still did not give up and started climbing to the highest places because she was sure that her husband Zon would fly a helicopters to rescue her, and only in high places could she be discovered. Fortunately, his efforts would pay off. Joe really did not fail her. Bong Joe quickly arrived at the building where she was staying and discovered his wife Annie. At a glance, seeing that her wife was fine, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he quickly placed the life raft out. Annie saw that and quickly rushed out, quickly walked forward. But at this moment a piece of the floor was broken, and almost fell off the 100m high building, but she had just escaped danger. Zon discovered that something was wrong. At this moment, there was a violent noise from the building next door in the light. Eyes in disbelief. Zone, the building next door collapsed. Watching the dust fly up for a moment, Annie realized this building was about to collapse, so she ran to the life raft with all her strength, but in the end she was still trapped. Covered in smoke and dust like that, Zone quickly put on a lifeline, but there was no one up there. Zone suddenly panicked and saved me. Luckily his wife's voice rang out. Joe immediately showed his fighting spirit. Zone rushed Yellow, pulled her onto the plane, then Joe just wanted to fly the plane to evacuate a building that collapsed towards him. Oh, luckily Mr. Zone reacted quickly, avoiding the debris, but he had difficulty controlling the machine flying. Suddenly the next second another building fell towards them, but it was fine. Zone relied on his Excel skills. The two finally escaped from here, but they still couldn't rest for a while. After that they received a call from their daughter asking for help. Very quickly, the two of them knew the earthquake had hit San Francisco where their daughter lived, so after Joe and her daughter agreed on the meeting place, they both immediately set out to San Francisco to rescue their daughter. But what they don't know is that a more terrible disaster is about to happen in San Francisco, because at this time the frequency of the San Francisco earthquake wave is increasing crazily, and it is predicted that it will eventually reach scary level of 9.6 degrees. After the professor discovered that, he was so scared that he quickly started a live broadcast to remind people in San Francisco to evacuate immediately. At this time, Lynn's daughter also followed the crowd walking to the destination. We changed to another plane and they arrived in San Francisco smoothly. But the place was chaotic and the road was blocked because cars were preparing to flee. The airport was also affected by earthquake. The runway was no longer there. Just when Zone was having headache because the plane couldn't land, suddenly he saw a stadium, so there was an immediate solution. Just saw him flying the plane to the stadium, then he put on his device. I directly took Nye to jump in tandem and soon both landed smoothly at the gymnasium. However, at this moment the earthquake happened again. This time it was an extremely strong earthquake. Yes, that was predicted. Before the most terrifying 9.6 earthquake in history, it was actually happening. I saw a wave on the ground. Immediately, all the facilities and buildings in the city immediately destroyed by Chine. Luckily, after the earthquake passed through Zone, she found her daughter in an empty lot, so everyone escaped. But just as Lynn was about to continue going to the meeting place agreed upon with Zoen, the disaster alarm ears rang again in the city. Through the radio they soon knew that a huge tsunami was about to come, so save themselves. Lynn immediately turned her attention to the tallest building here, then she took her along friend fled towards the building. Then the sea water began to recede at an alarming rate. Then the initial tsunami that formed the Golden Bridge put heavy pressure on it and was quickly destroyed in an instant. The terrible big wave that swept towards San Francisco suffered another devastating blow, and now San Francisco was in ruins. Lynn led her friend to run to the 10th floor of the building. As a result, they witnessed a horrifying scene of a tsunami. We are still not high enough. Bend down, hide, hold the umbrella tightly. The tsunami was terrible. It almost collapsed the building where Lynn lived. 3 people escaped the disaster. Now they are looking into the distance at the scene. Unbelievable scene. It really made all 3 of them dizzy for a while. Then Zone discovered that the water level was rising, so they teamed up to go higher ground to the 12th floor, which would be safer. At the same time, Zone and his wife just escaping tsunami. They still haven't given up coming to the ruined city to find their daughter. Just as they desperately accept their fate, a green laser ferry suddenly attract their attention. 2 people hurriedly turned back to check. It turned out that Lynn's daughter was actually alive. The couple hugged each other excitedly. However, if nothing else happened, an accident would happen. The building would suddenly collapse into sea water immediately, poured through the window and flooded into the 12th floor. Luckily her brother rushed to the stairs and Lynn was trapped in a small room with only a little air left. She wanted to save herself, but the exit was blocked because of the heavy objects from the building. Even though Lynn tried to come, she could not move even for half a minute. At a dangerous time, Zone decided to jump down to save his daughter. Not long after, he found Lynn, but the furniture blocked the door. His weight was used. His strength was even worse. His daughter, only breathable air, was completely submerged, and very quickly Lynn fell into a coma. As a father, Zone witnessed his daughter dying. Zone was worried and immediately burst out with the last limitless power. At this point, he broke everything, then caught Lynn and quickly brought her to the 13th floor, which was not flooded. Then Zone found an empty spot to set up, immediately gave first aid to his daughter. But then the building began to shake violently, facing the building that could continue to collapse at any time. Zone then tried to use the police to break the glass and leave the building. However, these glasses are made in China. No matter how hard Ja tried, the glasses did not react at all. Annie saw everyone in the building and immediately realized the problem, so the next second she turned around, the ship stopped and crashed straight into the building. Let go. Then the building started to move again. They quickly boarded the yacht. At the last moment, the building collapsed. They successfully escaped the building and entered. Important moment of life and death. He is still giving first aid to his daughter, hoping a miracle will happen. Father doesn't want to lose her. Don't hold on. Finally daughter finally regained her heartbeat. The two happily stood up immediately. Hug your daughter tightly. This is the end of the movie. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new movies. Bye bye.